All right, Anthony, why don't you introduce the show and let's get cracking.
All right, guys. Anthony Angelillo, branch manager over here with Paramount Residential Mortgage Group, CEO, founder of Tag Team Nation, co-host of Damage Control, and top originator for several years in the business, man. Those of you that do not know who I am, I do lending and we do marketing, and we're launching something big tomorrow. So looking forward to it.
We're launching something big today. Actually, it's launched. It's already launched.
Today.
The post was just done, no?
Yeah, it was just set up.
We already launched.
I haven't looked at it yet, so so hopefully everything's good.
Amazing. We're so excited to have our first ever mini coaching workshops. It'll be a 6-week program where we'll be going over and helping you with our assistants. We'll be doing your business plan. It'll be a 6 weeks program. So if you've always thought about doing it, started doing it, considered doing it, it's going to be revolutionary for your business if you've never had a business plan that you've used as a guide. So we realize that we just need to really sit down and help agents do it, because a lot of them say they want to do it, start doing it, think about doing it, but then don't do it. And so the same thing for me, and I'm going to say the same thing for me, because I was like that until I hired a coach to help me do it, is basically, and then told me if I don't do it, like all your other problems don't mean nothing, because you don't even have a business plan. So what type of a business are you? Like, where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you complaining you don't have enough business if you don't even sit down to do your business plan, like that, with the strategy of what you're going to do? So you'll hear more about it later, but we've already made our first post about it. The link about the program is in our bio. We'll add the link also in the post in the chat towards the end of the show. So we look forward to seeing you there. But I digress. Melinda Grimaldi, real estate and title attorney, co-host for Damage Control, and today we are talking about how to be a connector to grow your business. So Anthony, when I say connector, what do you think?
A resource. Who do you know for, X job? How do I get to A to B? Basically a resource is what I think. Anybody that knows anybody in this business knows the good people that are actually going to help and get to that person, what they need, basically, which is a resource, man. Right.
I wonder if there's a formal definition for that. Let me look that up right now. For connector. You want to look that up, Anthony, on Google?
I'll look it up.
So I don't know. When I think connector, I think of like when we're talking about connecting the dots, you bring two dots together, right? So connecting people is very similar. It is finding two people that have a mutual beneficial relationship or that could have a mutual beneficial relationship. So you put them together and set them up for success. I love to do this. I used to do this really heavily. I've kind of slowed down in the recent I've been focusing on different things, different strategies, but it's something that you have to always keep in your back pocket and always use it in your daily practice. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit of how you can do that. Anthony, is there a definition for that?
Connector, couple and devices, joints, electrical. See, there's nothing.
Okay, but I'm sure there's like a different definition.
There's a crap ton of definitions
right? So you can.
I even said formal connector too.
Okay, so therefore, let's use that as an analogy. There's many ways to connect people. There's many ways to be a resource. Mm-hmm. There's many ways to help people, right? So let's talk about, the first and foremost is to be the resource, right? So for me, especially starting out as a lawyer, I have very clear definition of the type of things that my law firm practices. There's a lot of things that I don't do, and even within real estate, there's a lot of things that I don't do. But I always will take the call, or my team will always guide callers to somebody else.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, it's a company-wide policy that referrals to other businesses and professionals will grow your own business. Therefore, if somebody calls our office for something that we do not do, it is my team and myself's responsibility to refer them to somebody that can help them, whether they're a lawyer or something else, depending on what it is. So that is how to be a resource. I have people, I said, call me anytime you need anything. Like I'll always be, I think I've grown that reputation. Like people call me for random shit all the time. And I love it because it's that thing that, I need this, or how do I look at this? Or I might make a move. Sometimes it's even just like to be a sounding board, but I like to be a resource to my community, to my friends, to my referral sources, because that keeps you close to people, right? They think of you when they need something, even if you're not the one that's doing it. So think about how powerful that is. I need someone to make bags for my event. People call me for tchotchke referrals all the time because they're like, who makes your tchotchkes? Like I got my new mugs, the money candle was in the works, all that
I
stuff.
need a new one, man. Mine's out. I only have a little bit left.
Yeah. So we have, that's the point of being a resource. It's being that person that people go to, and that takes time. But to really get started in that, you got to offer the resource sometimes in the beginning, right? Because they might not necessarily, your friends, family, colleagues, your clients.
What do you mean
by
offer?
Like people might not necessarily come to you and ask you for advice, or ask you for a recommendation, or ask you for a referral just to a tip. You got to tell me, listen, anything you need, I'm always here. I got this guy, I got this. I always got a guy. And if I don't have a guy, I'll find you a guy, because I know other people who are like that. So I go have that same, mind space, headspace. So when I call them, I say, hey, do you have a guy? Because, that's one of the guys I don't have. And then I'm always trying to fill my list, and we'll talk more about that later. So that's being a resource. Resource doesn't necessarily have to be giving money, right? Financial. It could be a recommendation, a referral, a suggestion, some guidance, whatever you're good at. It could also be how you're a resource, right?
So let me elaborate on my side. So
yes,
what I do is, if somebody calls me up randomly that lands on my landing page or a squeeze page or whatever the case is, we say over here, we are a resource. We are an extension of XYZ. If they're looking for a good listing agent, if they're looking for a buyer's agent, if they need somebody that's in the West Coast of Florida that we just referred, it's referring and, taking that borrower and that lead per se, and doing something with it. How can you leverage the lead to make another connection, to do something of good, not to expect a commission, just, open up a conversation to help that, that person out. That's a way of thinking about it. Or if I'm a real estate agent and somebody calls me and says, I'm pre-approved, you're a resource. Many other resources that, you can guide them to. If they're, what's two things that I can magically solve to be that resource for you, that I can possibly get you in the right direction. If you sense that tonality on the other line saying, man, I'm just frustrated on XYZ, you're a resource. And that's part of, what Melinda and I do very well.
So when you're thinking about being a resource, I want you to imagine your best friend, right? And how you talk about them and how you support their business, or you should be anyway, right? You have a good friend and they just opened a restaurant, they just launched a business, and you're supporting them. Now, if you do that for other people genuinely, you will see how they will be so gracious when it's their turn to refer a realtor or whatever you do, right? If you actively shout out a business, shout out, and connect in such a way where it's genuine and you're really just trying to help them, it goes a long way. There's so many books that talk about it. You could talk about giver's gain mentality. You could talk about, there's a really good book. I have to look it up. I'll bring it up when Anthony's talking, but there's a good book about, it's like a whole, system about it, about like just giving back to others and supporting them. So that's being a resource. So I want to talk about referral. So the second step about being a connector is understanding your referral source business. 7 levels of communication. Yara, thank you very much. That is the name of the book. Thank you for putting that there. That's a good one. It's a great one. And there's a couple other books too. I knew you're a great connector, so I knew you probably have read all those books too. With regards to referral sources, Referral sources is a whole separate animal, right? So we're talking, when we talked about being a resource, it's to anybody, right? It could be a friend, a colleague, a person you know, your neighbor, the parents at your kid's school, whoever comes that comes into your space and that knows you, like giving off that helpfulness vibe and then connecting them to people you know and following through and making that connection happen. So with the referral sources, I'm talking about people who give you business, right? Sometimes they can give you, just by the nature of the business, they can refer you more than you could refer to them. But it's just as important to be a resource to them, right?
Yeah.
And a connector for them.
Yeah.
So for example, I'll give myself as an example. Obviously our business is built, and Anthony yours as well, on realtor referrals, right? We cannot possibly refer to the realtors like they refer to us. It's not scalable. It's not practical. It's not possible. So what are the other ways? You know, that's one of the things I'm going to be working on for fourth quarter is how can I support you as an agent? But more importantly, who do you want to meet? Who sends you good business? Who do you want to meet? Do you want to meet a lawyer? You see someone I'm connected to on social media, or someone that you want to know? Who do you want to speak with? What are the types of people that send you the best business? What is your niche and what are you looking for in terms of how I can help you grow your business? Who do you want to meet? That question there, when you're not, I'm not talking about when you're sitting down with someone who could be a potential client but asking the question, who do you want to meet? Who's your best referral source? Who sends you the most business? And if you start asking those questions to the people that send you business, how can I help you? That's also being a connector. And it's actually the most important level of being a connector because these people already support you, right? So you want to be able to support them. So there's different ways you could do that. But if we're talking about being a connector, it's asking them, who do you want to meet? Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense. I think break it down a little bit more though, because if I'm a real estate agent, how is an agent going to be a resource to what, a borrower? Or are you talking about?
Let me do this. For example, if I sit down with an agent who specializes in relocation, right? And I'm sitting down with this agent, they're my agent, they send us a lot of business. Agent, how can I support you? What are you niching in? What are you doing? Who do you want to meet? A lot of times people don't know how to answer that question. So this is a great way to exercise their brain function to like think about their business. That's number one. Number two, you should all know that when someone, you should be ready to answer that question. Who refers you the most business? Not in the individual name, but in a role or capacity, right? So if I say for myself as a title attorney that owns a title company and a law firm, who sends me the most business? It's going to be lenders and realtors, right? Because that's the nature of my business. That's the stage of where I'm at. Yes, sometimes lawyers. Yes, sometimes repeat clients. Yes, sometimes other people. But the reality is the majority. So if someone asks me, who do I want to meet? I want to meet loan officers and realtors because that's who sends me business, right? So I'm ready for that question no matter what, because that's the most effective relationship I can bring to my business. So as a realtor, yours will be different. It depends on where you live. It depends on what you niche. It depends on what you focus on. And, you know, whether it's geography, type of client, et cetera, that's going to be who you're looking to meet. And it's not always the actual client. You don't say, I'm looking to meet buyers that want to buy, or I'm looking to meet sellers. That's not what you're asking for. You're asking for, I'm looking to meet people who interact with foreign investors. So who's going to be that? CPAs who specialize with foreign investors. It's going to be immigration attorneys who deal with foreign investor visas. It's going to, so you get my train of thought.
Or focusing on a niche, like one of our agents focuses on our church group.
So a church group, who do you like? So that's great too, but that's through the building the relationship. So who else do you want to meet? Like, you know, is the question that you should be able to ask that. And then you look in your sphere and see if you can make that connection. Is there somebody that fits that criteria to, you know, some people, for another example is someone who specializes in death, divorce, and downsizing. I know some agents who do all three or do one of the three. So of course, probate attorneys, divorce attorneys, mediators, right? There's people who deal with divorce. It's like there's so many layers of that. People therapists, these people who really specialize in this are coming into contact all the time with people who go to them with their problems, right? And problems if there's real estate involved, that's where you come in, right? So as an agent. So, but that's I'm using an agent as an example because I hope this is also triggering other
That's
ideas.
why I asked the question. That's why I wanted you to do that.
But I'll never forget. I believe I was introduced by a CPA that I knew to this guy who works at this probate litigation firm, and they do regular probate too. We sat down, and the first 30 minutes, all he did was make a list of all the all the people I wanted to meet, all the things that I do, and like literally take full notes. So I'm sure he went back later and put it all in a CRM. And then after that, gave me 5 email introductions. And some of them are people that I do business with to this day.
That's awesome. So wait, he sat you down.
This is like years ago. And I'm like, wow, what
were the questions?
So he asked me to explain about his business. He asked me about my business, excuse me. He asked me, okay, who are the type of people that you want to meet? Like by going in and dissecting the answers of what I do for work and where my clients come from, he was able to ask a few more questions and say, okay, I know this person. Would you like to, that's so-and-so, she's like this, she's like that. Do you want to meet this person? I'm like, yeah, of course. She sounds amazing. Like I literally made friends from these introductions, never mind, referral business that we've developed over the years. They were other attorneys, right? So the point is this guy sticks out at me. He did it so well. Everybody knows him. And he's just one of those guys. He's not even a lawyer himself. He just works for the law firm. He brings in business as a relationship manager. So and then at the end of that meeting, he provided me a sheet about the firm and all the things that they do with a summary and kind of went over it. So the conclusion of that is that was a referral source meeting. And he asked me, because I don't need a probate attorney, right? I didn't need it in that moment. So he asked me questions as a referral source or potential referral source. Who do you want to meet? How can I help you? Who are the key types of professions that really move the needle for your business? Mm-hmm. And that interaction to me, probably 5-6 years later, still stuck out at me. I still remember what he does, because this guy the reality is, he was so focused on me in the meeting, which was, it was very different. It was based on BNI principles, how he does the meeting. But anyways, that's a different story. But it was a really, really good meeting. It wasn't, BNI also has like these weird structured meeting notes. He didn't do it in that way. He did it in a more natural way, but it was based on the principles of the one-to-one meetings for BNI.
And then he gave you an outline afterwards.
Yes. A printout.
That's
a printout of a few things that I could take with, as reference. Or I think one of them was even an article about probate and real estate, something that like would impact me as a professional, that would be a good read, that was written by his attorney, plus an outline of all the things that they do, and a summary of himself, things he loves to do. Like, what do you like to do? He even asked me, like, on a personal level, like what I enjoyed doing. I don't remember what I answered at that time.
I would love to see that sheet, because if you think about it, I mean, everyone needs a good CPA during tax season. Everyone's looking for a different CPA if they're disenchanted with that person. Any type of attorney, if there's something that they're going through hardship, they're going to ask for attorneys. And then I like the fact that he added a personal touch on it. So he's actually giving a shit about your personal life. What do you do? What do you like to do? That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a resource.
Into live bands. He was into live bands. I remember that. I don't remember what I said, because I don't remember what
what did you say?
I don't remember. My life's a blur right now. I'm too busy.
Live bands. Oh yeah.
But he's into live bands, and he tells me all the places he goes to listen, and he loves all that stuff. And he travels around with his wife to listen to all these bands, and that's their thing. And so I remember that, right? Because it's like different, and it sticks out. So, anyways, that's something that I want you to remember about your referral source. Of course, be a resource to everybody be a resource to your referral sources. And let's talk about past clients. Past clients are a gold mine for everybody, right? Always. But because they've already trusted you once enough to hire you. So they should already trust you. As long as you did a good job, they will trust you to refer you to a friend, and they will trust you to hire you again, as long as you maintain the relationship. So how do you maintain that relationship? Of course, it's keeping the check-in, but then what do you say? What do you talk about, right? After a while. So when it comes to past clients, you're not just there to help them buy, sell, and rent, right? You have to call them after closing, check in on them. It starts with are you doing work on your house? How are things going? I know we're all very wary of referring contractors because it's a shitstorm out there, especially in South Florida, but think about all the other things. Oh, let me know if you are planning to put any wallpaper. I know this guy, he owns a wallpaper shop in Hollandale. They have the nicest stuff. And, I'll call him and let you know you're coming. He'll hook you up type of thing, or whether that's just like one example, but you could offer services, or you could just listen, call, give a shit, see what's happening with your client. What's the latest? How are your kids? How are you settling in? Do you like the new school? Whatever you want to talk about, and listen to what they're saying, because almost always they have something they need.
A gas call?
A gas call. Give a shit, right? So do that. I didn't make up that term. That's from my coaching program, but that I was in before. But
so how many times would you recommend an agent to give a call to their
minimum calling once a quarter? Then you should be doing other things as well, but at least once a quarter to be checking in. I don't know if anyone has any other like timeframes of how they're doing it, but yeah, that's definitely
what we are doing, which I learned from someone who's actually on here, is we're touching our clients for every damn holiday and appreciation day. And it's bringing in and drumming in a lot of business, because National Dog, Animal Day or Pet Day, something like that's going out. So it's just touching them and making sure that you're checking up on them. You're top of mind. So
how are you doing that? Through emails?
Yeah, through email.
For you, it's
an email and then a call. But not only the email, there's a referral form that they would fill out, and they're referring clients that we're calling, which is another lead. So it's, and I picked that up from Yara. Yara talked about that on our show.
Yeah, Yara does this well. She does this really well.
I think it was like 96 touch or 120 something touch. I'm like, Jesus,
yeah.
What am I doing wrong?
But the most powerful touch is the phone call.
Without a doubt.
The phone call. 62 touches was her set.
62 touches. Yeah, we did so dramatic. 298 touches. I actually did 6 years. I was like, we're doing 6 years. Let's do it. But it's working, and and you're right, Melinda. It's the phone call, and that call goes so far.
If you think about it, if you take 62 touches, right? You divide that by 12, it's 5. There's always a holiday. There's always, and you throw in a call, you throw in an email, you throw in a text, you throw in even engaging and congratulating or shouting them out on social media. If they're business owners themselves, that's an easy way. Support their business, right? And they will remember you. So there's so many ways to touch a client, but when it comes to being a connector, bringing it back, right? Keeping your ears open and giving a shit. Everyone has needs. We're always going through things that we need to hire someone, do something, So it's so important to keep that in mind and just be mindful and listen to what's being discussed, right? Don't make your ears just ping if you hear real estate, because giving a certain amount of referrals out, I know there's a lot of agents that do this really well. A lot of our guests that we've had on the show do this really well. They are making sure they send a certain amount of referrals a day, a week, etc., because it's like a systematic approach. Like, the book is called The Go-Giver. The other one that I was talking about earlier, another great book to use and to listen or read to talk about these principles of being a connector. It's really the giver's game mentality. Okay. So I think we've beat out, and there's like shows about reaching out to clients and past clients and everything, but Maybe that's something we can build out, Anthony.
I was just thinking.
Tell me
I'm
you were just thinking that.
I
Okay.
swear I was just thinking that.
Maybe DC
That would
can
help
have
a lot
little
of agents out, man. I mean, I guarantee you everyone would comment the same thing if we could help build that out for them.
All
Like
right.
I'm gonna
Write it down
that
so we don't
down.
forget. All right. So with that being said, keeping an ear out is really the next step that I like. Keeping an ear out, that is part of being a connector on its own. No matter where you
elaborate on that. Keep it in your
where are you going?
Products?
What are you doing? No, keeping an ear out to what people are talking about.
Okay.
It could be as simple as, I got the best journal. I heard you were talking about a journal. You wanted a new planner. I just got the best new planner. I'm so excited about it, actually. I don't have it here. So it'll be another day. We'll talk about planners. This is the end of I know I get this question all the time at the end of the year. Like, what planner are you getting next year? But just it doesn't have to be even a person, be the resource, right? But connect people together. But at the end of the day, if you want to support a business, it's a great way to do that. But how do you do that, right? Like why are some, I'm going to give BNI as an example. BNI is a networking group where there's one person per profession. Why I'm going to bring it up is this. There's some people in BNI that are very good. They give a lot of referrals. They receive a lot of referrals. There are some people in BNI that are really terrible. It's because they're not being mindful and they're only waiting for the referrals that fall in their lap.
Yeah.
Versus going out and doing it with purpose and looking and listening to what people are saying to see how you can support and connect them to somebody else. Or even asking the question, being a little bit more proactive. If you know someone is moving, right? Which that's an easy example for you guys. You know they're going to need a mover. They're of course going to need a lender. They're going to need a title. That's easy, right? You can connect them to those people, an inspector, etc. Right? That's easy. Do you need a new cleaning service? Do you need a new lawn service? Do you need a pool guy? Do you need a painter? Are you going to put wallpaper? Are you doing renovations?
That's just those guys?
That I just spit that out, right? I just spit that off my top of my head because of what we have. But like, there's so many other things. You're moving to a new school zone. You're going to need a new yoga studio. You're going to need a new coffee shop. You're going to need a new, what else? A new doctor, a new dentist, because when you move, you need all those things. Like you want to be close to your house. At least I do. So, where's your new nail place? My nail lady comes to you, whatever it is. You see, it doesn't have to always be about your profession. It's the easiest ones to be about your profession, but there's a lot of other stuff too. Okay. Do you need a lawyer? There's so many, when people move, if they're moving because of a triggering event, which is very common in real estate, divorce, death, downsizing, those are, or upgrading, those are all trigger events that they need other people too, not just you as a realtor. So keeping an ear out, being mindful, intentional about the conversation, and you will find the ability to support other businesses and help your clients at the same time, finding a trusted referral source, and it will grow your business. Easy. Okay. The next step is to build your list. Build your, Anthony, tell them when you're recording the show to not mess around.
My staff. I have literally someone who's here.
I was like, what the hell is this?
Probably thinking I'm rude.
You get a little sign like live recording.
I'm live right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So I digress. The next big step in being a connector is to really build a list, because I don't know about you guys, but I can't keep that all in my head. And especially as you grow a team, then your team can use the list, right? Whether you have a team of agents, an assistant, etc. So I have what I call from my coaching program, it's called Team 100. It lists like 100 different professions, and then, the name, number, phone, website, yada, 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 details of that profession. So you could call it whatever you want. It's pretty much a spreadsheet, right? And it goes through all the different types of real estate professionals, legal professionals, financial professionals, and then every other thing that you could think of or that you relate to, right? So if you're a dog lover, you have a dog walker, you have where you go, a groomer, a freaking kennel. I don't know what you guys need for dogs. I don't have one, but all that kind of stuff. Okay. So the point of all that is to be ready to have those abilities, to have those contacts, right? So the first step to make this list is to dump in everybody you already know well, everybody that you've used before, referred. Now, you can't just put anybody on this list. You must vet them. You must speak with them. You must know who they are. You must be able to trust them, right? Because when you refer someone, it's a reflection of you, basically. So it's important that you're not just adding any Tom, Dick, and Harry on there, that they're tried, trusted, and true vendors,
So are you
professionals.
doing are you doing a brain dump first and then vet and then cleaning it out?
So usually my brain dump for me is people I already refer to, like people I know off the top of my head. If I have, if I have a probate, I know I'm going to refer to this attorney. If I have litigation, people call me, I know I'm going to refer to this attorney. If I have, if someone needs a loan, I know who I'm referring to, right? So all those things are they're defaulted there. They're already ingrained in there. If I have and sometimes you might have a few, right? I have a few CPAs I refer to depending on what it's about, depending on who needs it. So if there's a specialty, I have a column there that also adds the specialties. So I remember, and I can search fast because I remember it when they email it to me, but then I forget after, right? So insurance agent, same thing, commercial, residential, one that specializes here, one that specializes there, boats, jewelry, there's like everything. So when I ask the vendors that I'm planning on putting there, put me a list of all the things that you do so that I can add it to my list. Right. So building that list is super important. And then realizing where your gaps are. So where are your gaps in your list? Meaning, is there somebody there that you should have? Like you should have your attorney Rolodex filled out. You should have your real estate Rolodex filled out, and you should have your financial Rolodex filled out. If there are gaps for the main positions in those categories, you should be proactively looking for someone to add there so that you have it. So think about this. You reach out to somebody. Yeah.
Go ahead. So
no, I was going to say that the practice of reaching out to someone and saying, listen, I'm looking to refer my clients to a probate attorney. I don't have anyone right now. I'd love to sit with you, learn about how you do business, and I'd love to introduce you to clients when they need a probate attorney. Think about that. You'll get the meeting for sure.
And then you're asking them to give you value propositions of what they're doing.
So what do you do? What do you specialize in? What counties do you work in? Do you do that? You get those details about them. And then you ask them, who do you want to meet? Because not only are you building your list, then you ask them, who do you want to meet? And then you start connecting. Or you say, I know so-and-so. You guys had the same type of clients. I'd love to introduce you. I think you would have a mutually beneficial relationship. And start connecting people. So if you have an idea, you can propose it. If not, ask them and then see who you know. Right?
That's awesome.
That's how you build a list and build the referral sources, right? You're building two things at the same time. And then is that what you were going to ask me just to say?
Exactly. I want to break down the list. That's how my mind works. That break down the list and really get exactly. I mean, I envision this list and then having the benefit for John Smith, probate attorney. What does he do? He specializes in XYZ, probate, obviously, but that's awesome. I mean, and then connecting them is going to open up
more doors, more conversations, more relationships, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. And then last but not least, on top of all what we spoke about, we have to, and it kind of goes back to the touches. We have to remind everybody what we do. So what does that mean? Remind. You have to remind your clients that you're a resource. You have to remind the people on your Team 100 list that they're on the list. Right? Like, if anyone ever calls me for probate, probate attorney, that you're my go-to. You have to remind them, so that they're there so that they remember to think of you too.
How would you remind them? email goes out.
No,
What
you're
is the-
gonna
what's-
do, you're gonna do some newsletter. You should be doing like an email newsletter. You should be doing some gas calls. You should be doing, you should be checking in and just being there, right? Sharing their information on your social medias, right? Sharing their story. Here's my go-tos, you know, so and so. Remind them that you're supporting them one way or another, even if they don't see it. Because sometimes you can give a name, sometimes you can give their information. And when you're connecting people, try to connect them in the same email thread or the same text message, so they know that you are the creator of that connection, so that they know that you're the one that's responsible, and they'll remember that. I think it goes further. I always try to connect my referrals. Like I try to do that as much as I can, not as much for clients looking to hire an attorney, because then I can't do a joint tax. Like attorneys don't give out their cell phones, yada, yada, but it's a little different. But when you're doing the, like the connection of like a referral source to a potential referral source, or people who can collaborate or things like that, that's where you do the connection like that by text, and it goes a long way.
And make it easy, user friendly, so they can download the card. It drives me
Right.
nuts.
Exactly. So you're reminding them, since as our audience predominantly realtors, you're going to remind them that you are a realtor. You are a realtor that can serve them, right? You are a resource to them. You can refer them. You can support them. That they are on your referral list, if they are, you know, that of people that you refer out to, and that you want to support them. So I know actually the probate attorney I refer to has a really great newsletter that he sends once a month to his referral sources. And at the bottom, he puts,
Yeah.
thank you to these people for referring me business. Shout out to this specific person, business, etc. And here's a little other thing that's going on. I really like that style. I think it's great.
Postcards too, I think, if it's the same person.
Yes, thank you, you know, for the referrals, etc. So many different ways that he does, you know, different things. But the conclusion is you have to remind them. So figure out what works for you and your business plan, et cetera, is reminding them. That's in anything in business, right? But
On all platforms too, man.
and we're focusing on, like, we always focus about clients, but we have to focus on referral sources too. Remind the referral source you're still there, you're still in business, you're still there to support, and you're supporting them too. So that is the reminder. And then I don't know, Anthony, did you want to add to that?
No, man, I think you said it best. I took a lot of notes, ironically, because I think honest to God, the money's in the follow-up and the referral source. I think a lot of agents are prospecting, and they're continuously prospecting, when the reality is they have the business. They've closed 75 deals previously, or 200 deals the year before. That's who I'd be reaching out to. But this list is interesting. I think what we should do for all of our agents is set up a list and like a foundation.
Like
that they can use.
a template for their list,
Without a doubt. I think it's brilliant. I think it's an amazing.
or in your CRM, if you're already in the CRM, just tag them as like your team 100, right? So then you can just sort by that and see who the professions are in there.
DC 100.
There you go.
I really love the list. I mean,
Yeah.
that's going to open up so many conversations. You won't even make it through 10 people throughout the entire day.
So the team 100 list, by doing it in a list format, it allows you to see where the gaps are, right? Versus just putting in the CRM. So it gives you that way to, like, really look ahead and see who you need to add. And sometimes you need to remove, right? Adjust, change, or have more than one, depending on geography, depending on niches, etc. So long story short, it's super important to be a connector. I started my business that way. I know many people who just focus on this. It's free. It's a strategy. It should be a point in your business plan. If you don't have one, check out our workshop that we're having starting mid-October. And yeah, you want to be able to connect people, support people, because it, like the giver's gain mentality, it will come back to you.
It comes back tenfold.
It comes back when you give a shit about people.
It
so
does.
obviously you need to do it from a honest, positive place, but because people see through that. but it's definitely, the way to do it. Give a shit. So that's it.
I think that's a wrap, man. I don't have anything else to say, but
so what I'm going to say is I want to kind of reboot this in my own system. So I will let you guys know how that goes as we progress. But I definitely, we've been focusing on the show and doing so many other things that I kind of stepped away from this. And I think it's a good part of my business. It's what started my business. So I'm going to work on some plans for how to do this a little bit more intentionally. Cause I always kept doing it, but intentionally doing it with a little bit more purpose in this last quarter and some plans for the new year.
and focus just on giving to the agents, right?
Referral, or the referral sources, checking in and being, because a lot of times even a good referral source can be just someone who introduces you to the right people all the time. It doesn't have to be someone who's sending you deals, right? So understanding that and then giving priority to those people that refer to you. But then at the end of the day, how to become a connector is not just connecting with people sending you like the biggest deals. It's to connect. The concept is to support and connect people in the community with each other if they have a mutually beneficial reason to connect. And sometimes it could even be like, I have a friend, I think you guys would hit it off. We should all go to lunch. You'd be surprised, the beautiful things that can come out of that too. It doesn't always have to be just you need to hire a business or a professional. And I know somebody.
And what's crazy is that you actually will grow your business because all of the people that are employed in my office were all from word of mouth. It's all it's from that connection. Oh, I know somebody, he's looking for a job. He's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Everything grows at that point.
So with that being said, we are hiring a closer. So let me just throw that out. And if the closer stays with us for 3 months, there's a $3,000 bonus to whoever sends me that connection.
Damn.
Yeah. So little bonus out there for that, but I digress. I hope you guys took some notes. I hope that you guys enjoyed the show. I hope that this reminded you of some of the very basic principles of growing and being a business owner is to connect and grow with other people in the community. So take a moment, digest what you learned today. How are you going to implement it? Take one thing and do it. And then we look forward to seeing you guys very soon. Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.